Welcome to the Royal Pontifical English College. My name is Father Nick Williams. I'm Vocations Director for the Archdiocese of Cardiff. And while I'm in Spain, in Valladolid, I'm going to take this opportunity to give you a little bit of a tour of the college and to explain a little bit about the history and the connection with our own diocese.
The Royal English College was founded in 1589 by Philip II of Spain, following a request from an English Jesuit priest, Father Robert Persons, who appealed to the Spanish king for assistance in establishing a seminary for the training of missionary priests who would return to England and Wales to administer to the needs of the underground Catholic population. The modern-day seminary, therefore, provides a direct continuity, linking today's students with the great martyr tradition of the 16th and 17th centuries. The seminary is situated near the heart of Valladolid itself, a medieval city which offers a unique blend of Catholic history and culture, intermixed with the vibrancy of modern Spanish life. The foundation of the college itself came only 26 years after the session of the Council of Trent, which established the seminary format as the norm for priestly formation. This fundamental model of 2 years philosophy and 4 years theology is still used as the essential basis for the modern seminary formation. In recent decades, a preparatory or propedeutic stage has been added before the start of the first year of philosophy to provide a solid foundation of human, pastoral, intellectual and spiritual dimensions that can be built on during the next stage of formation.
We start our tour at the chapel of the Royal English College, Valladolid, in many ways the heart of the community where the students learn to foster their relationship with the Lord and also obviously celebrate the holy sacrifice of the Mass.
The chapel at the Royal English College is a slightly younger building than the rest of the seminary, but it was principally built to house the famous Our Lady Vulnerata statue, which was damaged by the English in the sack of Cadiz in 1596. The seminary community was so outraged by the desecration and violence caused by their compatriots that they asked the Spanish crown for the statue to be brought to Valladolid and placed in the chapel in the year 1600, so that the prayers could be offered for reparation. The refectory at Valladolid is one of the oldest parts of the building and dates from the foundation of the college itself. As with any seminary, it plays an important part in the life of the community, where guests, staff and students gather at key points throughout the day to eat and socialize together. This provides a fundamental means for individual members of the community to get to know each other and foster good communication skills. Of particular interest is the pulpit, which, whilst not quite original to the foundation of the building, nevertheless acts as an important witness to the generations of students who traditionally would have used it to read spiritual literature to the community, who would otherwise have eaten their meals in silence. Here we are in the courtyard of the English College, which presents an almost monastic feel to the building. This cloister links the entire ground floor of the seminary with all the main areas, including the entrance atrium, gardens, chapel, refectory, kitchens and offices, which are all accessible from the main corridors. The central courtyard area provides additional space for members of the community to gather for social events and to enjoy the Spanish weather during the warmer times of year. Of particular note are the direction markers pointing the way to two significant places in the history of the seminary: London, where so many of the college community would have met their deaths at Tyburn, and of course Rome, the mother church, loyalty towards which ended up costing such martyrs their lives.
Here we are in the Martyrs Corridor at the English College in Valladolid. A face, or at least a name, that should be familiar to us in Cardiff, St John Lloyd. He studied here in the 17th century, went back and ministered in the diocese for a good 24 years.
St John Lloyd was arrested at a house belonging to the Wreckers and Tuberville family at Penllyn on 20th of November 1678, following a renewed frenzy of persecution of Catholics in England and Wales. This was the result of the Popish Plot, a story fabricated by a vengeful former student at Valladolid, one Titus Oates, purporting that Catholics were planning to assassinate King Charles II. Father John Lloyd was imprisoned in Cardiff Castle alongside a Jesuit priest, St Philip Evans, and eventually sentenced to be executed by being hung, drawn and quartered for the crime of simply being a Catholic priest. The executions took place at a gallows on a site which is now on the corner of the crossroads of Crewes Road and Richmond Road in Cardiff. A blue plaque acts as a reminder of this tragic miscarriage of justice, which eventually led to the canonisation of the 40 martyrs of England and Wales in October 1970. Other notable individuals connecting the college to Wales or Herefordshire are St John Roberts of Transfennyd and Blessed Roger Cadwallader of Leominster.
We're now in the King's Corridor at the English College in Spain.
The paintings in the King's Corridor belong to a sister collection of a set now on display on the northern cloister at Oscott College in Birmingham, and serve as a reminder of the inherent Catholicity of the English crown over a period of nearly 900 years prior to the Reformation. Following the death of Queen Mary and Cardinal Reginald Pole, and the accession of Queen Elizabeth to the English throne in 1558, the entire episcopal hierarchy of England and Wales, with only one exception, rejected the re-establishment of Henry VIII's breach with Rome. The only bishop to submit to the 1558 Act of Supremacy was Anthony Kitchin, Bishop of Llandaff, who was at least consistent in his remarkable ability to adapt his principles in whichever way most conducive to retaining his bishopric. The other Welsh bishops either fled to continental Europe, or, like Henry Morgan of St David's, retired after they were deprived of their see. Of those who fled Wales, Thomas Goldwell of St Asaph's and Maurice Clunog, Bishop-elect of Bangor, both ended up in Rome, where the latter became the first rector of the venerable English College. Goldwell became advisor on domestic matters to Pope Pius V and stayed in Rome until 1585, when his death resulted in the extinction of the pre-Reformation hierarchy of England and Wales. Catholics in England and Wales, therefore, had to rely on a new generation of seminary-educated priests who had undergone significantly more rigorous formation than their medieval predecessors. These were smuggled either by ship or by boat, and with an extensive English spy network operating in continental Europe, had to endure a significant risk of immediate betrayal and capture on arrival into the country. In addition to Valladolid, English seminaries were established in Douai, which was the first of its kind, and temporarily relocated to Reims between 1578 and 1593. There was also Rome, Lisbon, Saint-Omer and Seville. There are several notable examples of priests operating in Wales and Herefordshire from these other seminaries, all being martyred in 1679 as a result of Titus Oates' plot. St. David Lewis was a member of the Society of Jesus, otherwise called the Jesuits, and an alumnus of the English College, Rome. He was betrayed and arrested in Llantarnam to eventually be martyred in Usk, but was held in such high esteem by the local community that he was afforded a respectful burial in the local Anglican churchyard in Usk, where his grave can still be visited today. St. Philip Evans, as previously mentioned, was another Jesuit, this time trained at Saint-Omer and martyred alongside St. John Lloyd. St. John Kemble, alumnus of Douai, was martyred at Hereford. St. John Kemble's body is buried where he ministered and was arrested, at Welsh Newton, though his hand is kept as a relic in St Francis Xavier's Church in Hereford. These seminary priests were essentially ecclesiastical shock troops, trained to elude capture and to operate covertly, often for years if not decades, going from safe house to safe house, hiding out in priest holes when necessary. Monmouthshire was a particular centre of Catholic recusancy, and such safe houses can still be found across the wider Archdiocese of Cardiff. Though by far not an exhaustive list, examples include the Gunter Mansion in Abergavenny, Scare House in Glamorgan, the T Mine Mansion in South Cornelly, and the Turberville Mansion in Penllyn. Additionally, an extremely accessible priest hole can be found in the fireplace of the White Hart pub in Llangubbi outside Usk. We come to the end of our tour of the Royal English College, Valladolid. I hope you found it interesting and informative. This is the first in a series of videos we're hoping to make for Cardiff Vocations. Some of the other subjects that we're intending to address is how to discern a vocation, what seminary life is like, the life of a newly ordained priest, and some interviews of some of those slightly more experienced priests and some of the newer priests to tell their stories, how they discerned their own particular calling and their own particular relationship with God. So we have a YouTube channel set up, Cardiff Vocations. We have a Facebook page of the same name and a diocesan website, which is RCADC, Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Cardiff.org/vocations. So stay tuned for more content.